Good evening, everybody. This is John Michael DeBella here on his YouTube page. It's 10:20 p.m. on a Friday night. Now I'm going to be doing a topic I haven't really covered much of. This is a topic on politics. Now, I, as a liberal Democrat, I'm going to hold both sides accountable for what they're wrong about at times. Sometimes with the Democrats, now, I had to check myself at this too, because after looking at actual videos on YouTube about what was going on with the whole Michael Brown thing, I realized I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. The guy did rob from the store. I was absolutely wrong. And I let my views as a liberal Democrat get in the way of the facts. And I was wrong. I will admit that. I was wrong. This wasn't a case of a racial thing or a class thing. Michael Brown was a thug and a crook. But that wasn't the reason why he got shot down. He got shot. He got shot because he was standing in the middle of the street and he was assaulting an officer. I realize that now. That's like probably only one out of all these other cases that have been going on, though that was probably not the case of a police brutality, but of someone who was a crook. So I will admit that sometimes when it's the case of that someone was a crook, someone brought it on themselves, and it wasn't a police brutality, I will admit that sometimes we liberal Democrats see it as a race thing, and we don't look at the evidence objectively. That we sometimes, white Democrats and black Democrats, we sometimes say it as a race thing, that it was a racist thing. And sometimes we have to look at the evidence before we draw our own conclusions. We need to go by facts. And I will admit, I didn't go by facts. I feel like a complete idiot for thinking that Michael Brown didn't put it on himself. But all these other cases that have to do with police brutality, whether it's against black people or a foreign woman or a guy who was mentally retarded, those were police brutality cases. Those were. The second part of this video that has to do with Republicans, I feel like sometimes Republicans, they do not address the fact that there is police brutality going on. They either don't want to admit it or they're not addressing it, and they're totally dismissing it. So sometimes Democrats are kind of biased. We're kind of biased sometimes. Sometimes we don't go by facts, and we want to draw our own conclusions that it was a police brutality case. But we should have the facts, though, before we jump to conclusions or say, oh, this was a race thing. And then the Republicans, they don't address the fact that there is police brutality going on. So that's when both sides are sometimes in the wrong, that they don't address these things. Or one side thinks that it's a racist thing when sometimes it's a guy is assaulting an officer, and then the other side's thinking that every single person who gets killed asked for it when they all didn't. Like Trayvon Martin, Eric Gardner, all these other people I could mention, they didn't ask for it. They didn't bring it on themselves. You've got body cams that show evidence of what's going on, so it's like, I really think that there are Democrats that have to have the facts before they can think that it's a police brutality racial thing, and there need to be Republicans that have to admit that there is police brutality. When both sides are in denial of any of these things, they're both in the wrong. I was in the wrong. The Michael Brown case wasn't a police brutality thing. Michael Brown attacked Darren Wilson. Darren Wilson had to defend himself. That's the truth. I looked at videos on YouTube. I looked at 2 different videos that were of the same incident, and that was the incident. Can't believe, I hate to say it, but I backed the wrong horse in this case for the first time. But I think all the other cases I backed up, since I've seen videos of other things, that I backed the right horse. But I just think that both Democrats and Republicans need to admit that there are cases where there is police brutality, and that sometimes it's the case where the a cop is defending himself from being beaten up by a civilian who is posing a threat to them. So I hope you enjoy this video. Peace.